And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 404 of Fans of Power. I'm Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partners in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker, Nasty Nate Nathan Kennedy, the Trash Man Ren McKenzie, the Dr. Dushin Mitrovic, and the Reverend James Etok. So,
I just realised I'm like off center a little bit, like a movie or something.
It's very artistic.
It is, isn't it? I like that. I'll do the whole podcast like this. Yes, so anyway, guys.
Yeah.
He's
He
ignoring
just
my
kissed you.
kisses.
Nathan gave you a kiss.
He's ignoring me.
So, well, here we go. Let's try to sort this out.
I mean, it's pretty great having James here tonight because we're going to be covering UK comic issue 7. And,
Oh yes.
And I apparently, obviously, near and dear to James's heart.
Yeah, very much.
This
so, yeah.
particular issue, or just the whole?
Oh man,
run?
I cracked out so much to this one.
What?
What's
What?
that?
In recent years, I'm just like
Okay.
as soon as
What?
I learned the fine art, I was just like issue 7. Oh man.
What?
I guess we'll have to find out if digitally the pages will be stuck together here.
I don't even have it anymore. It's eroded. It's
Wow,
Jesus.
I had to set fire to it and let the spirits loose.
All right.
What's going on?
Let the spirits loose. Like now, I'm curious. And who are we trying to appease by
Any I don't know. Like I guess the idea of me having children is a terrifying thought, and any offspring should be burnt at the stake or something like that. There you go. That's a happy thought for the day.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, I mean, with given how things have been going recently in the world, which we don't need to delve into. Yeah, I think.
I don't need to populate the earth with my kids.
No, I'm with you, James, and Tyler is too. Solidarity, brother.
Yeah, I don't need no fucking kids. I love
I've been
kids.
trying to get rid of mine for 15 years. They told me I can't abort them anymore. I'm like, fucking bullshit.
Well, of course, we know Joe has plenty of illegitimate children all across the country. But Joe, go ahead and let us know, everyone that's live in the chat, because in a roundabout way, they're kind of like your children, right?
Yeah, they're all goat babies too.
All right. Well, the first person we have is MOTU Drew, Jaime Mares, Will Timpson, Zentron, Eric Sanchez, JSP, Rebel Wookie, Febmon. I feel like I said it already. Adam Gabbert, MOTU Matthew, Papa at 6. What's that?
Motu.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't pronounced.
Oh wait, no, that is actually my bad. There's a lot of Motus in here tonight.
There is a
wow.
lot of MOTUs. Papa at
Motu.
69. Shut up, Zentron. Adam Gabbert, Chris Carter, John Ballard, Caballero, and Gavin is here. And I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize, and welcome to the show.
I want to well, let's get Dushin to talk here. Just so I'm curious.
Oh, has he got an Arnie mouth now?
Yeah, I want to see how this moves and works.
Go on, Dusha.
Is my Halloween out, or I didn't want to? I didn't want it to go to waste.
Yeah, that's good. You had it for the show a couple weeks ago. And
Yes.
No, that'll be a good one to break out every now and again too. That's pretty
I
good.
never envisioned Arnold talking like that, but give us your best Arnold, Dushin.
Oh boy,
gotta
Fuck
see
you,
it.
asshole.
it's kind of like the old Conan O'Brien stuff. That's the vibe I get with that. Where they'd have the dude. I can't
Where they
remember.
cut out and then they have
what-
the
was-
mouth doing that.
Yeah, was he the one that did Triumph, the comic dog? Was he the
Yeah,
one?
that was Conan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's still one of my favourite sketches of all time when they go to the premiere of the Phantom
Attack of-
Menace.
Attack of the Clones.
It's Attack of the Clones with Triumph, and it's just he goes. There's a guy dressed up as Darth Vader, and Triumph's like, "You are dressed up as Darth Vader," and he's like, "Yes." He goes, "What is this?" And he's like, he's got his Darth Vader's chest thing, and he's like, "It is my breathing apparatus or something." And Triumph starts laughing. The guy doing the Triumph character starts laughing because he knows this is a banger, and he goes, "These buttons." He goes, "Which of these caused your mother to pick you up?" It's so good.
That's a
It's
good
one
one.
of my favorite bands ever. I was just like, yes. Oh dear.
I mean, at the same time too, I do miss the the midnight movie release experience, because Tyler and I did that quite often with a lot of the stuff that would come out. And
Did all the Marvel stuff? Wasn't that all like midnight release?
a good chunk of it was, yeah. I mean, they kept up with that until COVID came around.
Yeah, of course.
Then that kind of all went away. But I mean, just the anticipation building for it. Is it going to be good? Or, like, going into it excited and then coming out of it and pretending like you liked it a little bit, and then later on you buy it on DVD and realize it sucks, right, Tyler? We've done that plenty of times.
More times than I want to remember.
How dare you?
So people who get so upset, oh, you hate everything. It's like, dude, I've given so many chances to pieces of shit. And
Matrix Revolutions.
Oh,
I think that was a midnight one.
I don't remember going. I remember seeing like an early showing on that Friday for
really
the Matrix Reloaded. I think Revolution.
The third one. I'm talking about the third.
Oh, the third one. God, the movie fucking sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Oh God, well, the Matrix sucks too, man.
The first one's good.
It doesn't hold up.
I'll stand by the first.
It doesn't hold up.
I'm with Tyler. It doesn't, like, it was at the time you're like, oh my God, and now you watch it back and it's like, maybe because it was so many films came along afterwards and aped it so much. You know, there was so many films that just followed the thing of like, hey, let's do this long coat with glasses, like this guy down here. It just became all of that. You know, every film was just the same thing. And then the Matrix 2 and 3, I saw at the cinema and I was just like, what is this nonsense? And 3 with was it the Colonel, Kentucky Fried Chicken Man, and the
with all the monitors?
Yeah, all the monitors, and it was just like, oh God, it was so up its own arse at that point. And it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I like a good bit of creativity, but my God, when you start to kind of self-celebrate during a franchise, it's like, oh no, I'm out, man.
I think that's one of those situations where that first film was so for its time revolutionary, and everyone like loved it, and it became a thing of, all right, well, now let's make like that was one and done, and now they're like, oh, let's make sequels to it. But
I remember lying about the Matrix in a job interview when I joined the civil service. I might have told this story before. It's not particularly exciting, but yeah, I was trying to get a job in the civil service because it paid well and it was a government job, and I was like, oh great, this would be nice.
James gonna be a mailman. Like, I like to picture like James, as like the local mailman or something.
You just want to see him in shorts, you dirty monster. No,
I love shorts, but I just picture
I got good legs actually.
Wearing one of those pit helmets, walking down the street and saying hello to the dogs, and just wearing those like knee socks and
getting people's wives pregnant.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm with Ren. Where's Ren? There he is. He's there. I'm with Ren. It's like that whole thing of, I just totally I'd be that guy that knocks on the door and be like, hi, I've got your mail. I was doing the fun thing again. I saw it. The magic popped up. I want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know why Ren's able to do that. I still haven't figured that out.
Make a heart. Give us your heart. Go ahead and do that thing.
Oh yeah, go on.
You got to make a good shit. There you
go. That's crazy. I think it's not an app on his phone. I think he is actually just a magician. He's made a pact with the devil. And
don't worry about it.
Maybe that's what it was. So you're going to be a mailman, and you were going to...
Yeah. No, I went to like this basic government job, just admin job. And I was sitting in the job interview, and I had these two, civil servants, like, been there for a good number of years. And they interviewed me, and I was trying to join the Department of Culture, which I actually did get into, Department of Culture of Media. What is it? DCMS, Department of Culture, Media and Sport. And I was trying to get into the films branch, which I ended up doing. But in the job interview, the first of two, the first one, they said, so what films have you seen lately? And I was just like, oh shit. At that point, I wasn't really going to the cinema as much. And I was like, oh, and I don't know why I just didn't say like a film that I probably had seen. So I was went, oh, The Matrix. And they were like, oh, they said, what did you think? And I hadn't seen it. And I was like, yeah, it's really good. And they were like, what's your favorite part? And I was like, the effects were amazing. I hadn't seen shit.
That is very much like Office Space. And you're like, yeah, I love Michael Bolton.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally just bullshit. And then I got a second interview, and I was never asked any film knowledge, which was good. But
they asked you what you think about the nunchucks.
The nunchucks?
Yeah. Because you want to work in the British film department.
Oh no, we weren't in charge of nunchucks. That was the British Board of Film Classification, where I was in charge. I was in the Department for Culture, Media, and Sport. We just we saw those forms and everything, but yeah, I didn't deal with nunchucks. I wish.
Now I'm kind of interested. Tell me more about this experience with the. And then, so I'm assuming you got the job. You started in that division because you said you wanted to eventually get into the film division, and then you got there.
Oh no, I was straight into the films.
Oh, okay.
It was great. So it was funny because I worked there, and we'd get all the kind of anytime a film was made in the UK, whether it be co-production or whatever, we'd get all the paperwork. So there was all this paper, all these folders for Lord of the Rings, because at the time the Brits were trying to get Lord of the Rings made in the UK, because obviously all the countryside and stuff ended up going to New Zealand, I think it was.
Yeah.
In the end. And they were really pushing for that. And we had I'm sure Peter Jackson, all these directors were coming in, because we had a lot of important people coming through the doors and stuff. And yeah, it was a fun place to work. But I saw the budgets for every movie. It was really fun. There was a British movie called Snatch. I think they renamed it Diamonds in the UK, in America, but Snatch. And the cast for that was great because it had Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, Benicio del Toro, all these pretty great actors. And I saw the budget for that. And I remember seeing Brad Pitt, and I was like, Brad Pitt's in this movie, and I was like, he's only getting $80,000. I know it's a lot of money, but I was like, $80,000. That seems like awfully. But it was everyone was doing everyone a favor for that movie, so it was like a real kind of cheap production, but it was really fun to work in that place. I worked there for a good few years, and yeah, that was. And then I just left because I made a cartoon that got shown on the BBC, and I was like, I'm going to become an animator, and then that failed. That was literally 2 weeks before 9/11. It was crazy. I was like, what's gonna? The world's gonna be. I'm going to become an animator now. There's nothing that's going to shake me to my core. It was like, oh, the world's just dramatically changed.
Oh man,
it was really weird. That first week, I remember animating, and then just my mate phoned me up, and he's like, "Are you watching the news?" I was like, "No." He goes, "I just saw a plane flying because he'd seen the coverage of the second plane flying." I was like, "What?" And I went into the living room. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And it's my first. I think it was within the first week, I was just sat there the whole day, many of us were just watching everything occur. Just what is going on? I'm supposed to be becoming an animator. And then I think it was a month later, Mattel got in touch for the first time and said, "Hey, you do this HeMan website with Zadok Angel. Do you want to write on the write an encyclopedia for the Mike Young cartoon?" I was like, "Okay, so I guess I'm not going to become an animator now." Thank God, because I was shit. I could storyboard, but I couldn't animate for Toffee. I was terrible.
Well, it's a good thing that you got this guy now.
Oh yeah, he's the savior.
I was gonna say we could just abandon the topic altogether. We could just talk about your work.
It'd be more entertaining, I think.
Oh no! Tyler's playing his hand. Oh no!
I want to tell you guys once again, you've.
Oh, Ren hates something. I'm shocked.
You've destroyed some of my time today. I only read the shit today. Yeah, I can't get that time back.
Well, because that's sort of been our journey. We're on issue 7. We've been going in order, and we're on this quest to find one where we can say without a shadow of a doubt that all 3 stories are solid, and this is worth your time to read. And we'll see how it goes. You guys want to go ahead?
Good.
Yeah, we'll jump in.
H trash. Yeah, let us begin with this piece of shit.
Oh man, what
oh my god, is it that?
Yeah, the internet hates it.
No, I just
HeMan captured by J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Well, go ahead, James. Tell us why, with this one in particular, was an absolute favorite for you.
I think.
Yeah, why do you have a bad taste?
Yeah,
it's coming from the guy that likes HeDemon of Phantasy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with HeDemon of Phantasy.
Yeah.
Wait a second here. I've never got to throw down with James about this. What the fuck, man? He always dances around or puts a little jab in one of his videos. What the fuck is wrong with HeDemon of Phantasy, man? I want to know now.
Oh, we've turned into one of those
me, man.
news
There's
outlets.
no one else here. You can't leave the room, bud.
Shing.
There we go.
My arms are bigger as well. Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. James has dwarfed me there.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that. Anyway, yeah. So She Demon of Phantos. I just think it's like dull and it's paced really badly. Like, I mean, I'll always have a thing against Strong Arm. I think he's a terrible character.
What? Why?
Yeah. Lizard Man can do one. I'm with Joe for once with Stratos. I can't care for Stratos, and he doesn't even talk. He just goes brrr, and he gets zapped, and it's all random. It's like a plant attacks, and then Battle Cat disappears, and then we're somewhere else. And the other thing is, He-Man's personality is so out of whack. He loses. He-Man's like, we must, let's wear disguises, and then 5 seconds later, he's like, I'm gonna lose my temper, and he's like, I'm gonna throw things around. It's like He-Man doesn't lose his temper. And then he gets shut in a photonium cage for about 10 seconds. And he's like, right, here's the plan. I knew nothing was stronger than He-Man. It's just like, shut up, man-at-arms. So, and then I don't know, I'm just not keen on it. I do like elements of it, like Queen Elmora and Phantos itself. It's like, there's a lot you can do with that. But I just think the episode is just a bit, one of those kind of first seasons where they just didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. But then that's just my opinion. What does that matter?
Man, you sound a lot like John Denver. You're just full of shit, man.
Wait, why is nobody else talking? Have they all been muted?
They've all been muted out. Nathan takes opportunities like this to just pit two people against each other. I've done this with Brandon countless times. So.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, yeah, actually, I've seen those. What am I talking about?
I feel like He-Man is in character. I feel like getting to see him being tested a little bit with like slavery. He's not cool with slavery. Like I like the idea of He-Man is a little antsy to put a stop to that shit. I think Strong Arm is a fantastic looking villain. I don't know why. You're the first person I've ever met who thought that was a.
He looks like he was designed by a child.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Look, here we go. Here's
the thing.
Piece of paper. Blank piece of paper.
So you're a child,
right? Here we go. I'm just right. Just this is why I'll never be an artist, but right.
You can't take out your fault of being an animator on Strong.
Kind of a body. It's like I'm drawing penises again. And then you go right, okay. And then we'll give him spikes here and a face, and then he does this, and he's wearing pants. That's not even Strong Arm. That's what a child designs. But that's
like a shitty version of Spike Where that show up in like Origins mini comics or something like that.
Well, yeah, we're not going to disagree about that. But no. Yeah, I just there's something about the episode I just feel doesn't capture the essence of an episode of He-Man. It just feels so kind of. It feels because obviously it's based on She-Demon and Moon 3, which is a very different script. But it feels like there's still so many elements of that early story, kind of like an episode I like, but the time corridor, it feels very weird. The time corridor I enjoy, but it feels almost like a He-Man episode that hasn't been quite fine-tuned. And I think that is the case with, well, at least that's what I think for She-Demon and Phantos. It's like, oh no, the elements are all there, but it's just weird in places. It just feels like, yeah, they didn't know what they were doing. I think, truthfully, when they wrote that script, they probably were going, how does he do this? What does he do there? How does he do that? Okay. Because, imagine, put it this way, I know you can use this for so many episodes, vice versa as well. If you can imagine She-Demon of Phantos being made in the second season, I think it would be so kind of perfectly staged and paced and everything. You've got the setting of Phantos. I still don't care for Strong Arm, but
only in the first half of season 2. Because let's
you can get into that.
The second half is the shits.
Yeah, we know how that turned out, but yeah, I just that's one of those things. But it's like like I say, it's always healthy to disagree. You're not a fan of the problem with power. I love
not
it.
At all. I love the idea. The premise of that is beautiful, but the dialogue is shitty. Skeletor's portrayal is, even though it's a great plot, he comes off as the most unthreatening villain for the most diabolical plot that's ever been put on He-Man. That's why I feel like it takes a lot of the intensity out of that episode.
Well, the funniest thing with problem with power was like I championed that in the earliest days of the community as soon as I saw the episode, which was '96. And I was like, oh, I love this episode. And then it was fellow fan John Callis came along one day, and we were at San Diego Comic-Con in 2005, and I've still got it to this day. He printed out like. Excuse me, he'd done this comic panel featuring screen captures from The Problem with Power, and it was basically like him retelling the story, and it was basically like, what a stupid plot to have He-Man surrender the power and then throw the sword into the abyss. It's like, what's the point of that? I love it, and I think we all know why it's done. It's for dramatic purposes, you know.
Yes.
But it is ridiculous. It's like, you know, you hand the sword, the sorceress is right there. She's, you know, you can almost see her going, "Oh, hand me this. Oh, you've thrown it into the abyss," you know. And it's just, oh, this is going to be a mission to get it back. So yes, it's like every episode, I think, you know, it's like there's probably someone out there that loves the Greatest Show on Eternia.
They're not a He-Man fan. They're not. They're probably like Revelations too. Like, you're not a He-Man fan. I don't give a shit. You know?
Like crackers pop up there.
Yeah,
that's good. Unless I'm having like PTSD and I just saw crackers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I'm seeing crackers.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just one of those things. Oh, Joe's back. Hello, Joe. Oh, everyone's back. Hello.
Yeah, I'll get everyone.
It's a Royal Rumble now.
Damn.
I thought there was going to be some more fireworks between the two of you, if I'm being quite honest.
We could.
Yeah, that shit was dull, man.
Thought you guys were going to.
Oh no,
clash the Titans here.
But
hey, no,
I agree with Toupee.
Let me put that there. All right. So, James, go ahead and talk about this. We'll kind of leave all of our opinions out of it. I for now, I want James to kind of discuss this issue, his history with it.
I mean, in terms of like when this comic came out, you know, I'm such a fan of the transformation sequence that anytime it popped up in a comic or an annual, I was like, oh my goodness. And if you go back to like the first 6 issues of the UK comic, the transformation is like sparsely used. This is like the lamest reason for liking something, but I was, you know, I think 9 years old when this came out, 10 years old at most. And I was just like, oh my God, this issue had like 3 transformation sequences. And obviously there's a lot of the first 2 stories primarily deal with the whole, you know, dual identity thing, which is really weird to have them both back to back in the same issue. It's almost like, you know, you read one story and then we're into the next one. You go, oh, okay, I guess we're still on the secret identity plot. But yeah, I just thought this was like a really cool comic. And at the time, I didn't realize obviously, you know, the J. Jonah Jameson, was it Spider-Man 24, 25, when it's like, you know, J. Jonah Jameson sends the Smythe. Smythe built the robot and it goes after and it's got J. Jonah Jameson's face in.
Yeah, it's an iconic cover though. I love it.
That's a great cover. Captured by J. Jonah Jameson at last or something?
Yeah, and you watched the cartoon version as well.
Yeah, the cartoon. That's where I kind of remember it most. But but yeah, those Steve Ditko. We're gonna start talking about Spider-Man comics all of a sudden. But yeah, I just really enjoyed the kind of the very basics of this comic. It was like, I always love the secret identity stories. I've said before, one of the biggest errors I think modern canons make is, we've seen it. I've, you know, again, personally speaking, Princesses of Power and Revelation, when they, you know, everyone knows the secret or there is no secret identity. It's like you lose so much material. I understand, you know, going back to Marvel Comics, it's quite funny. For the longest time, I'd always think of Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, being like a secret identity that ran for years. When you go back, it ran for about 20 issues of Tales to Astonish. You know, he becomes Bruce Banner in those becomes the Hulk in those first 6 issues, and then you've got that like Tales to Astonish when he, you know, starts co-opting the comic with Giant Man and then Submariner. And for the first like 20 issues, which is only like about 5 stories or something, no one knows the secret. But then after that, everyone knows that Bruce Banner is the Hulk. But I guess, you know, because I was exposed to cartoons where, you know, like the 1982 Hulk cartoon, no one knew the secret identity. I just feel like secret identity comics or stories are always so more impactful because you can do so much more with them. You know, you can play about with the characters, and, you know, people will whine about, well, you know, why doesn't he just tell everyone he's He-Man? And then it's just like, it doesn't work like that. That's a nice theory you've got there. But just saying, oh, he's going to go around telling everybody he's He-Man, it's like, yeah, then he puts everyone in danger. Like, that was clearly explained in numerous episodes, usually by Paul Dini. But it's yeah, I love the secret identity plot. So when it was in this story, in these first 2 stories, I was like, oh, I'm sold.
When it came to reading these, did you ever bother much reading any of this stuff? You would skip straight into the stories?
Oh, it goes straight. I never read the editorials. Like, no disrespect to Brian Clark was obviously Scrollos and the writer. But yeah, I Scrollos, however you want to pronounce it. But I was just never really into. I looked at the Orko Magician strips just because I was always baffled by the fact they kind of made Orko wear gloves and they give him a mouth, as you can see. Yeah. In the strips. So yeah, I was never too. Some of the strips were quite good. There was a few of them that were actually quite amusing. And when you think about it, it's kind of like the character did lend himself to that strip format, I think.
Yeah,
Sense,
Orko works in that kind of way. Yeah, without a doubt.
But yeah, I never read the editorials or the kind of side strips where it's like, did you know? I'm like, no, I didn't care. I want to read about He-Man's latest adventure.
So here is the first story, Droid of Destruction, and I gotta say, even this is the 7th issue. Like, I've kind of endeared myself to this look of Hordak. I mean, it doesn't look good at all, but I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm with it.
It's trash.
Really, I didn't. I never thought. I never had a problem with the way.
Look at Montana. Look at his anus mouth.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously. Yeah, I mean you saw that in numerous kind of weird canons. But yeah, I was never. I didn't mind Hordak because I always thought he was relatively, kind of accurate-ish.
Yeah, it's not
looks
bad.
Goofy.
He does when they give him pupils, which I think happens in one panel in this story.
No, but look how oversized his head is.
I mean, I think if you look at the action figure, I think he had a fairly big head.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, it did.
He did.
Yeah, he
No, he
did.
didn't.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at this. Look at this
Motherfucker got a big ass head
fourth
in his
panel. Look at the fourth
Right there,
panel.
his head's humongous in that panel with
Yeah.
his hands behind his back.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
He's a massive dork.
Is he?
Yes.
No, I mean, like, I didn't like the UK comics portrayal of Grizzler. That was like they kind of tried to make him a bit of a kind of a lead character in terms of the villains, but it was just always so. Even as a kid, I couldn't stand it. There was one where did Grizzler get bitten by someone or something? And it was just like, what's going on? Grizzler in the cartoon wasn't exactly, a deep thinker, but he still felt like a threat. It was almost like they treated Grizzler like a weird cuddly teddy bear because that's what his action figure looked like.
And did they even have a story from the UK where he was with his family or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did. Oh my god!
What?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did actually do that. I just remember. Oh god, yeah.
I can't remember if that was the Christmas issue or something.
Yeah, I think it was 100% spot on there. Yeah. But like, if I remember, like looking back or kind of hazily looking back, my memories of the UK comic, I don't remember Modulot getting to do much in these comics or Leech. It was all Mantenna, to be honest. It was Grizzler. They made like Hordak was obviously the guy, and then Grizzler became the other guy. The interesting thing, you see the Fright Zone in the background. I remember in one of the, I suppose we'll get to it when we get to the letters page, but one thing I always enjoyed about the letters page was they often tried to explain things. I think there's like some real interesting things. Now, don't get me wrong, they can be canon, they can't be canon, whatever. But, one was like, I think in this issue, someone asks, how tall is He-Man? It's like, oh, he's 6'2". I'm like, it's pretty cool. Like, never saw his height written down anywhere before then. One of the ones I enjoyed was someone said, why does the Fright Zone in the comic, which is obviously the toy one, look different to the Fright Zone in the She-Ra cartoon? And they said, this is the Fright Zone on Eternia.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and they said that you've got the one in the She-Ra cartoon, which you rarely see in this comic. And they did this. Obviously, they did the Snake Mountain thing as well, which was one of my favorites actually, where they said the Filmation one was the old design and was susceptible to attack. So Skeletor built the toy one. I was like, that's a kind of cute like thing. You prefer it the other way around because I'm such a Filmation bias, but. Yeah, I was like, oh, they I think they described the breed of cat that Cringer was, what he actually smelt of, what kind of animal it was. So they weren't just like phoning it in with the letters page. They actually did try and do some stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, the plot of obviously this one is Brainwaves, which is it's been done a few times in He-Man. The one I always think of was oh god. Adam's Adventure from the New Adventures of He-Man cartoon. Skeletor has a brainwave machine. But in that one, when he reads He-Man's brainwaves, even though he transforms back into Adam, he still reads, he's like, He-Man's here somewhere. And obviously Prince Adam stood right there. With this one, the story implies that when He-Man transforms back into Adam, he's got different brainwaves. It's like, ooh, differing brainwaves. But I do like a good brainwave story, you know, as brief as this one is.
Yeah, because I mean the premise is, like I said, it's interesting, but I know with these stories, you know, there's only limited pages for each story, so they don't seem like they can flesh it out. And then it's always like when I'm looking at them, thinking, well, how is it that He-Man hasn't taken care of this thing in a second? Because, you know, that's my logic is He-Man would have destroyed this robot within seconds, but they, you know, they try to make it just keep egging on to where he can't defeat it or something's going on to make it last longer. Like his powers seem different. The other thing now, like I said, the story is good. Like this, it has potential, but I mean, it's not the best. The second one I think is the best of all three. The last one I think kind of sucks, but I don't like the dialogue that they had He-Man almost say in two of these stories where something's going to happen and He-Man said, what the? And like he got stopped. That implies He-Man's either going to say, what the hell or what the fuck, which is something you ain't going to have He-Man say. What else is he going to say? What the darn? So I don't like that, right? You know what I mean? With that line of dialogue?
I can give the UK comic a complete get out of jail card here, which is, and it's not, it doesn't make any sense what I'm about to say, but in the episode Eye of the Beholder, David Wise has He-Man say, what the devil? Because that was David Wise's catchphrase in all of his cartoons.
But with this, I feel like they were trying to stop him from
What the diss?
Yeah, like it didn't work. I was just, could you imagine? Finish? What the fuck is that? Like that can't be in here. But
I always did like that panel there of Prince Adam, because it was kind of, you know, obviously it's like you can see what's happening. There's no kind of reveal. As you turn the page, you see Prince Adam again. I do like that panel, and it's the story kind of. I know it's going to sound, it's like a story over 5-6 pages, whatever. But it's like he falls down the thing. He's like, oh, the rocks are magnetic. And it's like, oh, that's lucky, isn't it? It's like, I feel like there should have been a bit of exposition when it says like He-Man is helping to, because I think there's at the start of the story there's like he's trying to dam up a breach or something. It should say like in the magnetic mountains or something. Yeah, I think it just says the village of Katnip or something like that.
Yeah, Katnip. Yeah,
Katnip. There you go. Which I think they referenced in a previous issue, because I remember seeing that name before. But anyway, so you think like if they said the magnetic mountains or something, or played into that, I think for him to suddenly emerge from the water and be like, oh, my sword is attracted to this rock here. It's like, oh, and obviously this is one of my. I like this because it's of what it represents, which, you know, talked about before, is the earlier idea for the transformation, which is, you know, Prince Adam striking his sword against stone to which obviously can only go so far. I think it was Robbie London who came along and said, no, let's redo that, because that can only go so far. So
yeah,
Robbie London
did that 3 years ago, prior to this comic. He did that 3 years prior to this comic, and yet they still use it. Why?
Because I mean the UK comics and the UK annuals were published by the same people. I know that, and I guess they were still going by, like, I know for a fact they had the oh my goodness, the Filmation series guide. You know, that one where, you know, it talks about Faker and Panther with the helmet and stuff. So yeah, I think they were still using that, but to a point, because obviously afterwards they stopped using it, and even in this issue.
Yeah, in this very issue, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
second and third story has the magic words.
Yeah, Adam just says the magic words. But yeah, he gives him a good thwack, as you can see there, and yeah, take
question,
that,
James. You know, when you were first seeing these, you know, first time when you were seeing these, and there's colored pages and the ones that are black and white. And I know it seems weird, you know, when you jump to one, you're used to the color, but did you like the black and white more, the colored more? Because sometimes it even looks like the black and white actually does pop more at times. It looks like
it does.
when
I
it's
mean,
not colored.
No, I think that's actually a really good point. Like, I think the black and white pages really do pop. Like, if you look at the artist of the second issue, oh my goodness, what's his name? Something Garcia. He his artwork I think is bolstered by the color. But this first story, I just feel like the color kind of, they're using a lot of watercolor paint, and it kind of saps away some of the line artwork.
It makes it look amateurish.
It does in a way. I was gonna say, the funny thing is though, like some people may be going like, why is it color in black and white? But the funny thing is, in the UK, that was like commonplace for a lot of the magazine size, I guess they call them, comic books. Transformers, the UK Transformers comic book, Secret Wars, which I've talked about on the spinner rack before. The UK
was that Save on Money.
Yeah, it was because obviously it was better quality paper than American new comic books, very much so. It was
better quality print as well. Like it was the same case in my country as well.
Yeah. Like I've got a I don't know if I've talked about this before. One of the weirdest things that happened was Marvel UK reprinted issues 2 and 3 of the DC limited series. I was like, that's so weird for me. Like Marvel in the this would have been 85, 86, and you think Marvel and DC are still doing this. They're very much at it. Rocky, very much doing that. So for them to kind of team up on Masters of the Universe was like, I wonder what that deal was. Yeah. It seems like such a weird thing. But if you look at the print quality of that publication as well, those summer specials they called them, it's amazing compared to the original DC comics. Like the original DC comic looks like muddy and stuff, and you look at the colors.
It looks like toilet paper.
Yeah, the originals are like wasn't expecting that, caught me off guard. But yeah, I really, you kind of got used to the fact that you're going to encounter black and white pages. I think that, I want to say that changed around about the late 80s, where you started getting full color publications. But then the funny thing is, you knew when a comic was in trouble when it would go back to having black. Transformers.
Yeah, like with Transformers, yeah.
Transformers for a while went all color, and you're like, and it would say full color, and you're like, oh my god, Transformers! I think it was like issue 27 or something of Transformers, something like that. It was just like, oh my god, it's full color. And the UK comic stories were like really beautifully painted and stuff at times, like yes, color. And then I think about issue 175 or 200 or something like that. Something. Let's not tell anyone.
Even later than that, 200 something, because the last big story was, I think it was Time Wars.
Yes, you're right. It would have been post something. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, that's a blast from the past. But yeah, they it's funny, they would just suddenly go black and white, and you're like, and then the page count would be reduced. And,
to just 5 pages, like for the new stories.
But like 8 times the price of the original. Why am I paying so much money for like a leaflet? What is this?
How much longer then, as you start to see those changes, does it just go away entirely then?
Oh, I mean, it depends. It depends. Usually, I know it's going to sound silly. It often depended how successful the brand, the franchise was, because Masters of the Universe was, and Transformers were incredibly popular all the way into I'd say the early 90s in the UK, because HeMan was still getting not like massive reruns, but was still being shown up until about like 91. Sorry. Transformers just never. Transformers got stopped showing on terrestrial TV, but Transformers, I always say, is like, it's weird in the UK. It's the toy line that never left the shelves, because when the Americans stopped it after maybe like not Headmasters, but like one of those later toy lines, Action Masters or something, the UK started re-releasing old Transformers called, I think it was like it was called Transformers Classics, maybe. And
Classics. Yeah.
And they had gold boxes. And it was like, we got Jazz again and Sideswipe and that. And then obviously a few years after that.
And you also had the Japanese exclusive Transformers Incorporated, albeit with missing parts.
Oh, right.
So couldn't do combinations and such that they were designed for.
And then shortly after that, I think Generation 2 followed. But yeah, it was always an interesting journey being a fan of UK comics. But yeah, going back to what you said hours ago, Joe, yeah, the black and white pages definitely pop more. And I actually had a few years back now, Dushan colored a couple of the black and white pages from one of the comics, and they look fucking great. And I was like, and then your brain starts to think like, Dushan, color everything. But he only has so much time in the day to be a madman.
I'm with Joe on the story, like the potential's there, but we've kind of talked about obviously with the robot having the indiscrepancy, we're gonna do magnets, and it's like, okay, it sort of falls a little flat for me.
Yeah.
Not.
But the funny thing, when I was rereading this story this morning, and I was expecting like one of the final panels to have Hordak saying something like, I can never build one of these robots again. It's like, you can just build another one, can't you? Like, I thought there was going to be, one of those things. It's like, the plans were only available one time on.
No. What he would say is, do you have any idea how much this cost?
Yeah, that's a better one. Yeah. Do you know how much the budget was for this? That's one of still my favorite things in the She-Ra series that Rob Land put in there, the Horde catalog. I love that visual of like, you order something from the Horde catalog, of just like Hordak going through a catalog and going, I'll have this this time stop device. It's like, how many planets did that affect?
Don't militaries have that?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sure they do have catalogs. Yeah, it's like, I think that's how certain big countries make a lot of their money on war. Oh,
lowest bidder.
Well,
Lowest
James,
bidder.
Since we have you here for this one, would you mind reading these? Because you were talking them up about how well they do with these.
All right. Okay.
Do I need to? Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. Also, they're looking at the screen, which is like got a 10-second delay. Dear Scrolos, whoever he is, I am writing to say how much I like the new He-Man comic. It's great. I have always wanted to know the answer to these questions, so here they are. You didn't need to say that bit. Will Hordak ever join forces with Skeletor? Did you watch the cartoon, you idiot? Will Teela ever realise that the sorceress is her mother? Oh, they will cover that many, many decades from now, my friend. Do you like Hordak? And that is from Mark Jennings in Kent. Oh, nice area, Kent. Also, if you say it like a Cockney, it sounds very different. Where are you from? I'm from Kent. Okay.
I'll ask you about that after we read the questions.
Very good. Oh, do you want me to do Scrollos? Very good questions, Mike.
There you go.
I am
liar.
It's kind of funny because you're like, man, yeah, these questions are shit, and then you're reading it, it's like, oh.
Oh, so this is obviously where he first introduces himself. I am Scrollos, the keeper of the scrolls. I love this because it's obviously Brian Clark who's just like the editor, but every letters page in the UK comic, the writer, Transformers, Simon Furman did. Excuse me, he was Soundwave and Grimlock in the UK Transformers comic. But yeah, Brian Clark is playing the role of Scrollos. They should have had it as like Zodak or the Sorceress or something. I record the adventures of He-Man and the other masters. Ugh, hate that. Hordak and Skeletor join forces every so often, but their evil ways has always meant that they eventually try to trick each other. Teela still has a lot to learn. It's a bit of a vague answer to that. And yes, I do like Hordak, but I like everybody. That's a very dangerous place to be.
It's such a just generic. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to do that with it being a kids magazine and all. Can't let the
imagine if he said like, Hordak is atrocious. He's a monster of a human of a being. You're like, yeah, go crazy on him. Okay, so this is from Nicholas Baker from Portslade. It's not a place. Dear Scrolos, I think your comic is fab. The competitions are also great. No, they're not. I never won shit. I would like to ask you a question. Just ask the question, man. What's he going to say? No, you can't. Has Hordak got anybody else in his evil horde besides Leech, Modulok, Badtedder, and Grizzler? Okay, so Hordak is a very busy tyrant. You just said you liked him. Is he a tyrant or not, Nick? Not only is he fighting a war, that makes him sound like he's like one of the good guys. He's fighting a war on Eternia.
Clearly, Brian is admiring genocidal maniacs.
He's like, Hordak, I can get down with him. He's like, mate.
Hordak did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he was just caught up in it all. Not only is he fighting a war on Eternia, but he is also fighting a war on Etheria, the home of She-Ra. He has many warriors, but so far we have only met a few of them. unless you were watching the She-Ra cartoon in the UK 2 years prior and knew all about Shadow Weaver, and False Face and Scorpia and Ding Dong What's It. What have we got now? Simon Cook. Oh, that's a proper British name. Simon Cook. All right there. I'll fucking cut your legs off. Right. Oh, sorry, my laptop. I've forgotten.
No. Talk like how Simon Cook would talk.
This is a stupid thing to do after the week I've had in my throat. Okay. Dear Scrollos, I think that your comic is great. Why don't you have a prize for the letters printed? That's a threat. That's actually a really appropriate voice. Why don't you have a prize for the letters printed, you fucker? In my opinion, Skeletor and Hordak are cowards because they judge by numbers, not ability. Did Hordak teach Skeletor to judge by numbers? Simon Cook, Kingston. Kingston's a pretty rough area, man. So I think that voice was highly appropriate. Hordak didn't have to teach Skeletor to be a coward, Simon. Skeletor
and yet he did.
Yes, he did.
What the
Skeletor
hell?
has been a coward from the very beginning. And as you will have found out by now, we do give prizes to everyone who has a letter published. Yeah, especially when Simon Cook's threatening your life.
What any idea what the prizes were? Is that
no?
established?
I tell you who'd know. Aiden would know. Aiden had.
It's called publishing your letter in the book.
Yeah, probably.
Aiden got I think 2 or 3 letters published in this comic. It's really weird when I look back, right? On the back of, I'd say, the first 40 issues, the Masters of the Universe fan club was printed, right? Every issue, the back of every issue, it's like, join the fan club. You have the letters page. I never wrote a letter to the comic, and I never joined the fan club. It's like, what a fake fan. It's just so bizarre. It's like, why did I not join that shit? Anyway.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Yeah, it's weird. I did try and enter the competition in issue 2 because I think you could win. Oh my goodness, issue 2 I think it was like Thunder Punch He-Man, Dragon Blaster Skeletor, and then I feel like it was Cyclone and Mossman maybe. Oh god, I remember like a black and white illustration. I entered that competition. I was so excited because I was like some entitled child that thought I'm going to win this competition, and then I never heard back. I remember being so disappointed.
That sounds oddly familiar.
Poor Joe. Okay, so who's this? Nicholas Bulford, Clacton, seaside town. So he's been exposed to very fresh air, but he's from Clacton, so rough, but kind of, he's got clear lungs. Dear Scrollos, I really enjoy your comic. It's a lot better than the other comics I used to collect. Wanker. I have a few questions to ask you. Who is the strongest? Skeletor, Beastman, Hordak, or Grizzler? How tall is He-Man? Why did the evil Horde appear in the She-Ra cartoon series and not He-Man? Imagine me answering this question. Well, on the 27th of June, 1984, Larry DiTilio first penned. Dear Scrollos, you are scaring me with your knowledge, and you're a bit of a cunt. Right, Nicholas Baldwin from Clacton. Right, okay, here we go. Thank you for writing to me, Nick. Oh, yeah, it's a bit familiar. I'll try to answer all your questions as best I can. We don't know for certain who is the strongest of the evil quartet you mentioned. I guess it would be Skeletor, and in a future story. My favorite thing about the letters page, they would always say, in a future story. Never saw them, never saw these stories. It was always, in a future story, you may see Prince Adam and Skeletor merge into one being. And it's like, where's that? No, we're not. What are you lying to us, Scross? He-Man is about, this is the thing I mentioned earlier, He-Man is about 6'2". I'm like, that's pretty cool. As for your final question, well, perhaps one day soon. In answer to...
Wait a minute. What does he mean by I guess? Isn't he all-knowing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, maybe
he's a
Brian...
big phony.
He's a big phony. Scrollos!
The battle bike, is that similar to the bike that we got here in the States?
Yeah, I think it is actually, with the shield on the front, because I think there's pictures of it at the back of one of the earlier issues. I remember seeing it and thinking it looked
there's a little
gaudy.
variant to the one I have, because I have the battle cycle, and the battle bike is slightly different, but yeah, it's similar.
Fergal Mulqueen, what a name.
Oh, look at these names.
Yeah.
Trevor C. That sounds like a...
Those are all Harry Potter names.
We should look up Fergal. I'm going to look up... Do you know what? I'm going to look up Fergal McQueen on Facebook. This motherfucker must still be alive. Fergal died in a horrific tractor accident. You're like, oh, shit.
He died in an accident right in the battle bike.
He was riding around.
He rode it into a tractor. Fergal
riding that thing on the expressway.
Our second story here, which the second stories are always all in color, which I always found interesting. But Joe, what's kind of the underlying? What is the premise to story number?
Well, this one with this thing that obviously he may get caught in this trap, but not knowing Skeletor, not knowing what was going to happen, not even He-Man. But there's a separation of He-Man and Prince Adam when he's caught in this. The effects are going to happen later after everybody else is gone. There's going to be an effect, and they separate. But then He-Man starts becoming more like barbaric and more like
evil.
Losing, I guess. Yeah, evil. Yeah, he's evil. He's losing his ability to maybe make sentences like I am right now. So,
Cosmium.
Yeah, so it creates and it separates them. And James, I didn't read all these. I have some of the stories that were with Faker. For a second, when I was reading this, I was like, is this implying their way of trying to say this is how I thought it was going to be, this was going to be Faker. And when Skeletor was going to use maybe a spell to fight against He-Man towards the end of this, that he was going to turn into Faker instead of disappearing. And I was like, that could have been interesting. But still, I like this separation story. It is cool to see them separated from each other. It just didn't go, I guess, in the direction I thought. I thought it was going to become Faker. I didn't know, like, when you first read it, what you were thinking, because we do get Faker later on.
Yeah, the Faker pops up in issue 10, if I remember rightly. But yeah, in terms of, I remember, like, even now reading the story, I understand. I mean, I'm not going to say for a fact, but obviously it has great Superman 3 vibes.
Yeah.
The separation and the He-Man turns bad. But
or in Star Trek.
Yeah. It just feels, I don't know. It just feels like such an easy thing to, I mean. I don't know if it's like, I'll be honest, I cannot remember what I thought of it. I thought that was a cool panel with By the Power of Grayskull, I Have the Power. And also, I hadn't seen the cartoon yet where he had transformed back into Prince Adam. So that was like the first time I saw it. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. I've never seen him turn back. But then to see him in that third panel, like, piss off, I'm going to punch you in the face. You're like, wait, what's going on here? Why has he gone from 0 to 60, like so angry? And it just, we saw it in Revelation where, He-Man is separated from Adam and He-Man goes full nut job. And it's like, why is this thing where when he separates, he just automatically becomes a baddie? It just feels weird. Like, wouldn't it be great? Like, obviously, as a kid, I probably did enjoy this, but rereading it back, the amount of, this is going to sound really negative, but I guess I'm a bit kind of like burnt out by all the different He-Man clones we've seen, especially over like the last 10 years or so. Like, my goodness, Well,
it's the thing. I mean, I guess from when you read it for the first time, I mean, you had knowledge of Faker at that time, right? So were you wondering if they were going in that direction? Because I almost thought they were with this.
No, I can see why you thought that. I just remember thinking, oh, it's a bad He-Man, but I wasn't thinking of Faker. I think I was so used to seeing Faker, as in, the blue He-Man with orange armor or magenta armor, whichever you prefer. And I don't know, this story, it was kind of interesting, but at the same time, like, I guess this might be a thing to, a kind of criticism of all the UK stories, is they have such a short space of time to tell a story. So the premise is often quite strong. Like, if you were to say with that first story, we're going to do a story where it's like Spider-Man 25 and Hordak's face is going to be in a robot and he's going to be, that's like, oh, that's cool. And then it's over in 6 panels. You're like, oh. And it's kind of like with this one, it's like there's potential here, but it's
I guess the reason I was under the impression is this is the first time I read it was, when Nathan sent me the file for this. I have the other issue, like when Faker made his, I guess first, and remember he was the same color as He-Man, correct?
Yeah,
he wasn't blue.
Yeah.
Yes. So I thought maybe this was going to be some slight origin. I was like, oh, maybe this is a different thing, and this is how he's.
Yeah, in hindsight, knowing what happens in issue 10, it's like, oh yeah, this is where that's leading to. That completely makes sense. But I think as a kid, like I say, because I was so familiar with that Faker action figure, and I just thought this is like, oh, this is a bad He-Man, but it's not fake. I do like the way he just takes a swing at Buzz off here. It's just like, oh, who's this motherfucker? And just hits him. It's just like, oh, that seems a bit harsh.
I want to get Tyler to jump in here on this because we were talking, and I agree with Joe and James on this, that the execution doesn't really pan out given what they have, but the potential is there with the stories that they're trying to tell. Tyler, you just total disagreement on that across the board, or do you see potential in these?
Not really. There's no. I don't have much to offer because they're just not good stories. They're not. The robot looks cool, but it's wasted. And this story, I just feel like it's. I often feel like I just feel like the UK stories feel almost to the point where they're dumbed down for their audience, unnecessarily. It doesn't feel like they're full-on action adventure stories. It feels like they try to come up with these silly premises to put these characters in, which I'm like, it doesn't feel as alpha as I would if I had these as a kid, I'd be more interested in what characters appeared as opposed to. I'm just
going to jump in here, Tyler. Right, you need to shut the fuck up because what's going to happen now is Nathan's going to scroll, and we're going to see the most macho, manly Prince Adam ever.
You know what? I'm glad that I haven't scrolled any more than this because now I see what you're...
The last story with that last panel where He-Man's walking, my God, he looks like a fucking woman.
Are you guys ready?
He's got the most
Tyler, are you ready?
Feminine hairdo.
Tyler, shut the fuck up and look at the most manly Prince Adam you're likely to see.
Shut the fuck up, because I'm like, the less I have to say about these, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's still better than Revelations.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
There you go, Tyler. Where's your argument about a lack of machismo?
Adam just had a sucker, and it just left like a cherry residue all over his lips.
the cherry Tootsie Pop, right?
Yeah, cherry Tootsie Pop. He just smeared all over there.
It's such a strange coloring choice. It's obviously
why would they do that?
Obviously it's misaligned slightly, but in any case, it's like they were going to give
misaligned. It's the colorist using too big of a brush.
Because
look at the Man at Arms' chin.
They didn't paint the lips any other time when they showed them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, it's supposed to be marked interior.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be what?
Because again, look at the Man at Arms' chin.
That looks like his bottom lip because
look how orange overlaps on his chin and the color of the green.
Yeah, but
I was talking about
his mouth's supposed to be closed. I think, but it's supposed to be bottom and top lip colored.
In the third panel, you can see the problem that the colorist was likely using a big ass brush when doing this and just didn't care.
Yeah, you can.
They should have just given Adam red lips the whole way through. I tell you the funny thing. Tyler brings up a funny thing about when you're writing comics, like the Master Universe comic. I will agree is not like it's not written. It's not like Larry DiTillio's writing the comic, and that's no disrespect to Brian Clark or anyone who worked on it. It's just that thing of, you had Larry DiTillio writing comics writing stories that were like, yeah, we're going to aim it at kids, but also there's a lot here for, and as we found out, as Straczynski found out at a convention in '85, there was like a huge late teens, 20-something audience for He-Man. He was like, oh, hang on a second, so. But the funny thing is, with the UK comic scene, Transformers was the only one that ever got treated, I would say, with the respect to the point where the UK Transformers canon became the canon, for better or worse. Like Simon Furman ended up being employed by Marvel US and would write like the finale of the Transformers Marvel US series. Another offender, if you're going to call this comic an offender, is like the UK Real Ghostbusters comic. Like the Real Ghostbusters comic, I've said it before and I'll say it again, like one of the best written cartoons of the 1980s. Doesn't mean it's the best cartoon, but one of the best written. It's so intelligently written. And the UK comic, every story was similar to this, as in you had a 5-6 page story, and with the UK Ghostbusters comic, it would always end on a gag. So you'd have this whole story about like an ice cream ghost, and then the final panel is like, you know, like some ice cream gag, like he certainly made me ice cream or something, and she's like, all this for that? Like, where's the and it's funny because there's like one or two stories in the UK Real Ghostbusters comic that stand out because someone just went, I'm actually going to try and write a story that's intelligent. There's one with like a homeless guy on a bench in Central Park, and this homeless guy's just sitting there, and a goblin lands. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty much an accurate representation. And like this like demon arrives, and this homeless guy is like sitting there, and he just kind of, there's a few panels, it's like really kind of nicely executed. There's a few panels like the homeless guy just looking at the demon, and the demon's like, aren't you scared of me? And the homeless guy is like, are you kidding? You're like the first person that hasn't walked past me. And they sit down and he hands him like his drink. And I was like, that's a really sweet story about like, you know, because it's actually got, there's something in there. There's a story in there. Oh, Tyler's not
James, I forgot, who is the colorist for this? Because look at all that. The shit coming off of Prince Adam's shoulders, the bleeding in the Man-at-Arms' chin. Yeah, that like,
fuck all that.
I've no idea.
Send me that demon story.
Because I guess that's what we were talking about earlier. Take all the goddamn color out, or have somebody that could color it better to make it look more interesting. The
comics were all illustrated in Spain, if I remember rightly. They were written in the UK.
Garbage.
And illustrated. My favorite panel is this with Drunk Mechanic, because if you go back to the previous panel, there's no like correlation. It's like 1 second Mechanec's in this battle, the next second he's drunk, and the next panel.
You know what what I didn't like about that? If you scroll up, Nathan, to the where Man-at-Arms is talking, and he's mentioning right in front, I mean, from the left, just scroll to the top and zoom in on what he's saying there. He's talking about, looks like your other self is smashing other warriors. He's saying that to Adam in front of Mechanic, so it's like he's giving away He-Man /
Well, he's saying how drunk Mechanic is, and then in the next panel, Mechanic's like having a good old fight. So it's like, oh, that's a bit odd.
Okay, well, I guess that's a way to pass it.
I mean, it comes back to the concept of this, having this split in two and having this evil He-Man fight everyone else. I like that general idea behind it, but it's just not executed properly in a fun way. Yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, look at that's pretty macho, right? Right, Tyler? That's pretty alpha. Look at his face there.
Not really. No, it's just.
The face Tyler made almost look just like him. The face of this guy.
There's just nothing that's that could just save the story. Having dueling He-Mans, one evil, one good. Sure, it's a fun concept. That's why we like the Faker idea so much. But I still say like a good He-Man story can be told in a few pages. I really do. I feel like if you are forced to commit to, you got 6 pages to tell your story. If you really want to, I know anybody who's a really good storyteller can do it in 6 pages. You don't get to explore all the ideas as much as you want to, but you can still treat it with like as much dignity as a Larry DiTillio or Paul Dini story would be, I think. And you don't feel like and that's why I've never been kind, because not everything we got in the U.S. was treating He-Man like the Star Comics, like up until the very end, as James well knows, and so does everyone else. Like was pretty much just a poorly drawn toy advertisement for about 10, 12 issues, and then you get the last 2 issues, and then War and Peace after that, which was going to be pretty fucking epic. And then it's just like, well, why weren't we getting this? From the very beginning, why did they feel like it's because it's toys or it's a kids cartoon? Like, they keep saying for decades, comics are for kids, and yet they would write some of the best stories in all these, from DC and Marvel, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, you name it. But your target audience is kids. Well, why do you feel like you have to waste these characters and telling, the most mundane, dumbed down tree stump stories? Well, they're for kids. Like, they can't enjoy a good storytelling. Well, why is it we have to, only cater towards adults for good storytelling? Why do kids not deserve that? It's one of the reasons why He-Man is still celebrated to this day. I think from some people, maybe some people say, "Oh, I remember that," and it's not really about the cartoon or the quality storytelling or
the toys.
It's just about the toys, and that's when I kind of feel like, don't you guys realize there's more to this than just the latest shit at Walmart? you know. And I was like, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to any of you. You know, it's just like, you know, I'll go back to my home and stay away from everybody.
Why is Snake Mountain green?
Do we need
Why
to?
the fuck is it green?
We need to. There we go. There we go. Everything's better.
Yeah, everything's better now.
Put it back
You
there.
should make that one of your pop-ups, Nathan. So whenever, whenever it's getting a bit hairy, just pop up like Pretty Prince Adam.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on with these.
Yeah,
colors.
this is very odd. The whole it's very oddly laid out.
Was he thinking of Castle Grayskull? Wait, is it green? Wait, I don't know. It's
you're concerned about the color, but not that this mountain doesn't even look like a mountain.
Everything is just it's like a combination of, I don't know, a castle.
It looks like a sand castle, and that's about the extent of it.
Yeah, actually, if you look at it, it kind of looks like they drew the bottom layer first and then did the top. Oh shit, we need to put Snake Mountain in there. Right, put that at the top. It's weird.
Like maybe they're thinking the battle was going to be at Castle Grace. Ah, fuck it, let's change up the drawbridge, make it just fucking an entrance.
And then I'm assuming this is supposed to be a moat right here. Right?
Oh yeah,
sure.
Or a courtyard for entertaining.
Yeah,
that's for the parties.
Yeah, it's like thunk. That's a strange sound because isn't that the sound his Havoc staff is making? Thunk. So yeah, here we go.
I'm thinking so hard. That's you guys' problem. You think so hard.
So the solution
be dumb like this He-Man.
So the solution for this is to get the evil He-Man be killed.
Well, it's not even that. They just say like, "Oh, Skeletor needs to use his magic on He-Man, and then you'll be merged with He-Man again." It's like that. It feels like a massive jump.
No, because like the evil He-Man gets killed, and then Adam is able to become He-Man again.
Oh no, I know that.
He disappears, Dushin. He's not killed. He just disappears. There's a difference.
He gets disintegrated by Skeletor's magic. He gets fried to atoms.
Yeah, it's weird. And then the final, like one of the last panels, Skeletor's like, "Oh, that was a projection I killed," and it's like, "What?" Or destroyed. It's just like, huh? Why did you even need to see the real He-Man ever like walking away?
Well, it's just like, oh, well, see you later. Bye.
Yeah,
that was fun, huh?
Look at his buttocks.
No, of course.
Just what is this ass shit?
Look at Man-at-Arms' fleshy mustache.
It's just like he's got like a little cat mouth.
Just got like a big upper lip or something.
Yeah.
I love mayonnaise.
So weird.
Yeah.
That's that story.
Yeah. Here you go.
I do like this. If you look at the illustrations, like Jitsu is from, it's that Skeletor illustration by Alcala in the DC mini comics. But I think it's Skeletor and he's got the sword and he's attacking the villagers. When He-Man's giving the origin, I think it's in issue 2. Roboto is based on a He-Man. Is it He-Man illustration from? It's from issue 1, I think, of the DC. Like all the pose, and obviously Orko is from the cross cell art. It's like they just went.
Orko is on drugs.
Yeah, it's just Orko's on something. That's for sure. I didn't enter this competition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can even just see too, like they just took that and turned it sideways.
Oh yeah, 100%. That Too Bad is like, well, drawing Too Bad is like, we need to turn it sideways.
What is this? All entries must be received by Friday 11th of July, 1986.
All right, guys, get your entries in retroactively.
The funny thing about the Crawl Bomb story is when we get to the bomb, they actually write Crawl Bomb on it. I'm like, well, all right, I guess we don't.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, the thing
was rough. What do you think, James? This was just rough. This one to me, I didn't see.
It's not really a story, is it? To be honest, like the thing visually, what's amusing about it is that the artist here is drawing Skeletor as he's drawn Skeletor throughout the first like seven issues, but at the same time because I know the UK comics had Filmation reference material, so they had the model sheets, which is why Too Bad is basically the Filmation model sheet. If you go and look at the Filmation model pack for Too Bad, all of these poses, at least with the heads and the turnarounds, are all based on that. And that's, you see in, I think it's that third panel, Skeletor says, you Yellow Band, because obviously in the UK comics that was the first time you ever saw the names Bluehead and Yellow Band, and I remember thinking, oh wow, the UK comics have come up with names for each of them, and then you see that very Filmation model sheet I spoke about that they're using to reference these characters, and in that it says names are now Bluehead and Yellow Band, even though it was never said in the Filmation cartoon. That's how they were written in the scripts, if I remember rightly. But yeah, it's like it's so funny how Too Bad is so Filmation accurate. But I will say this again, I've said it numerous times before, I still think this is probably one of the best versions of Too Bad. Maybe like the story isn't great, but it's Too Bad as this guy that can build stuff so much better than what Filmation did with him. Too Bad Filmation is just dull as dishwater, but this Too Bad was actually
I couldn't agree more. You talk about being broken heart. When I finally saw Too Bad in Filmation, it was like I was like, well, I waited all these years to see what Too Bad was going to be like, and it was heartbreaking. I was so fucking pissed about that.
Oh, likewise, like because this came out in '86, and we didn't get, the episodes were shown all over the place, but we didn't get to see, I think the only episode I ever saw, because I never saw Capture the Comic Keeper in the UK the first time around. It wasn't until like the '90s when I got doing the old tape trading. But the only episode I saw him in was Ancient Mirror of Avatar. And I was just like, oh, this is Too Bad. Oh, seems a bit. And I think I remember seeing his cameo and here there's Skeletors everywhere. But yeah, in terms of what Filmation did with him, and it's not like Filmation were not aware of like the evil double-headed strategist tagline and what he was capable of. But the UK comics, in what I think is kind of a bit of a rarity. Web Store they did, I thought, really well. Don't get me wrong, loved Web Store in the Filmation cartoon, but what they did with him in the UK comics, like Too Bad, is they gave him fucking cool abilities. Like with Web Store, you couldn't contain him, you couldn't imprison him, and he solved every puzzle. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I remember as a kid loving that version of Web Store, and with Too Bad, the idea that he would build stuff, and obviously in this story it doesn't go particularly well for him, but it's like I can still appreciate the fact that Too Bad was actually being proactive rather than going, oh, Skeletor, whatever.
I want to get Dushin to color this and just like smear the
give me some red lipstick.
Lipstick.
I was reading this scene earlier, and I was just like, we never really got that in the Filmation cartoon. It would have been lovely to see, not Adam with red lips, but Teela fighting.
Training?
Yeah, training. You like seeing her train with her palace guards. We saw her training with a robot and this, that, and the other. But I thought she had all these palace guards that she was in charge of. Wouldn't it have been cool to see her actually like judoing with them or whatever? And I was like, oh, that'd have been.
This got me when I read it because I was like,
Hey.
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually clock that, surprisingly, which is I'm quite disappointed that I didn't clock that.
I saw it right away.
I did too. I was like, yeah, he's taking a little.
He's like biting I see he's biting the peach. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like poetry, so it rhymes. James was talking about Snatch earlier.
And yeah, Adam sees Snatch.
And he's having a nice bite
of
it.
He's eating the peach while looking at hers.
So.
He's taking a bite, letting the juices roll down his chin.
This is
better
another different transformation.
Yeah, this is interesting to me because this almost looks like it's very painful for him to transform.
It was. I really like the pose and the illustration. I remember as a kid thinking it was just like such a weird. He just, it's like he's transformed into HeMan. It's just like, did he bother to use his sword, or did you just stand there and like
just puff his chest
out?
Like,
I think he's screaming Shazam or Guy.
Shazam, yeah. Great Skull. What was that? Oh my God! When Thor appeared in the Hulk TV series, Odin. the horrible when Thor, like that was one of my biggest disappointments ever. I remember like reading the Hulk Marvel Comics of like 1987. They said, great news everyone, we're working on a Hulk Thor movie, and they showed the classic illustration from Hulk issue 300 of like Thor and Hulk splash page, Sal Buscema of like them clashing, this lightning bolt striking down. I was like, this is gonna be the most amazing movie ever. And then I remember seeing the movie and thinking like, why is he a Viking and why doesn't he look like Thor? And why the fact that Adventures in Babysitting did Thor better than Marvel in
Mind. Yep.
Anyone else enjoy Danny DeVito Mossman right here?
Damn.
Like what? I know it's perspective. He's walking up the steps, but
no, even as a kid, I always thought it was like a funny panel. He looks like he's got like a bit of a neck beard going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an odd. He looks a bit Amish when you look at it. You just give him a little hat, and he'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amish man. Yeah, Armosh man.
Yeah, there we go. Now he's a little more proportionate here.
Yeah.
Cyclone is showing up.
Oh, the funny thing about this is if you go back and look at like those UK comics, like the first 30 or whatever, it's so funny that they were clearly, the comics didn't have obviously the ability that Filmation had, and they were clearly told by Mattel, in every issue you've got to feature Roboto, Mossman, and Cyclone, because those three motherfuckers appear in so many stories for like the first bunch of like first 20, 30 issues. That you rarely see Ram Man, you barely see Man-E-Faces. Man-at-Arms obviously pops up. But yeah, Cyclone, Mossman, or Robot. And like, to be honest, as a kid, I wasn't really that into those characters. I wanted to see, Fisto, Jitsu, stuff like that. You were seeing, like I say, Too Bad and Spycore, and actually the villains did get a bit of a better shake. But yeah, the heroes, it was like Cyclone was in every strip. It's like, do something interesting.
By the way, why do Mossman's friends live in a place called Weird Forest?
Shit.
Oh, the weird.
They get out there and get high and freak it.
Yeah.
I was in the weird woods.
What kind of friends does he have?
High and freaky,
Probably furries. Just like I was in the weird woods, and we're just all watching a khaki session.
I still can't get over the fact that we're gonna just roll this in there, and it's just Crawl Bomb is written on it.
There you go. Guess you know what you're getting.
But I mean,
top secret, right?
Start, stop, fire. It's like we have to have all this labeled out.
No direction control. Just start, and it just goes where the fuck it wants to go.
Right.
They probably manually push it.
They should have given him like an Atari 2600 joystick. That would be good.
I mean, something.
Also, what's Stila doing? She's gonna crash into that thing.
I never liked it. I mean, some people may have a different opinion. I always preferred the Wind Raider and the Filmation cartoon that looked like it could carry more than one person. Whenever you see one person in it, they kind of look, the vehicle, the ship looked like miniature size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked too big.
Even smaller at times on some issues of things and
like
books and other shit.
Merman's riding one, isn't he? In the front cover of the DC Comics in the first issue. It's like, there's Merman in a Wind Raider. It's just like,
it's just kind of all the vehicles, really, because you look here and that seems way smaller too.
Yeah, that battle round looks. I love this. I love Mossman doing like a kamikaze for Eternia, and it's just like, how'd that work out for you, Mossman? He's like, you
knew that battle ram, you knew the rocket was just going to clink off. I think. See, this is another thing with what. Yeah, well, what happened in the first story where I'm thinking He-Man should destroy the robot. Why is it okay? He-Man, just grab this fucking thing and throw it into the atmosphere, destroy it. And so it's like, oh shit, Mossman couldn't do physical brute strength, so apparently I can't. That's the thing that irritated me with this, is I was like, grab that fucking thing and throw it into the atmosphere, and it's gone. But nothing like this ever happens. And then of course this idiotic payoff at the end. It's like, oh. So there, because remember, this thing's supposed to blow up the whole fucking city, and then
I couldn't believe the ending. Like, I hadn't read this story in a long time, and I didn't know how it ended. And when I got to the end, I was like,
suddenly Too Bad was Filmation version.
Well, it seems like it's going somewhere, because you're like, wow, they really. And then you because the way it ends makes everything before it seem pointless. Now, I understand that might be a little bit of a clever twist, but it seems weird because in this panel here, you've got Cyclone. You're like, Cyclone's going to do it. And Cyclone discovers this panel on the back, and it's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's like, this is going to be like something like really heroic. And then the end of the story is going to be like, good job. And then Skeletor just goes, oh, fuck this. I'm going to press the button. And then...
Wait a second, he presses the button that's labeled fire. Yeah. So that means that he should shoot lasers and whatnot, but it's already shooting stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think fire is explodes.
Self-destruct.
Yeah, so it should be labeled as blow up or explode.
No, but you're right. There's no payoff for anybody, for the good guys or the bad guys.
Yeah, it's a
because
weird.
What it did is, it made Too Bad then look like a moron. Like he went through all this effort, built this thing, and he didn't put the exploding stuff in there. So it's like everything they went through was meaningless, and what the evil warriors did, it was meaningless, and it was just a meaningless fucking story.
Also, how are they able to see the explosion when Snake Mountain is on the other side of the planet?
Well, I mean, judging by that explosion, everything's destroyed. Everyone's killed in the Evil Warriors faction. But the thing I don't quite understand, it's just like he says, "Oh, it must have been because you rushed us. We were so worried that we forgot." It's like, again, it'd be nice if you actually built up that tension at the start of the story, with like Too Bad saying, "Oh, raced off our feet. This is crazy." I know it's going to sound like a bit of an odd comparison, but you think about that Terror Claws mini comic where you've got Spycore building Skeletor's Terror Claws, the Bruce Timm mini comic. You just get so much in those few panels. It's like, oh, he's been toiling building these Terror Claws. He's been working really hard at this. And obviously the payoff is now Skeletor's got these Terror Claws. You feel like they should have done more with, I'm not saying have 25 pages of Too Bad building this, but kind of at least maybe a montage of panels or something where Too Bad looks like fucked. Like, oh man, we've been working so hard on this. It just feels, it doesn't feel like this payoff, which is you rushed us. It's like, did he really? Because it just looked like he walked up to you and you said, I've done it.
Yeah, you could have had it in the first panel. That's how it starts. It's Too Bad sitting there, inner monologue.
That's what I mean. Just like, oh Christ, I've been working my ass off on this motherfucker, and this bony bitch wants me to finish it.
Why?
I told you
this season is changing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In October and November, Mossman is
It's the fall Mothman.
I thought they did that in a few issues where they fucked his color up, and a lot of the characters and things in the background with the colors. They've done that.
The monthly adventure comic. That's where they went crazy with the colors. That's the funny ones. The adventures where you get which I think is pretty cool. The purple and blue Whiplash, but then you get the orange and purple Triclops and the tan Trapjaw.
Well, that is the end of our third story. James, can you tell us anything about
Enid Blyton's adventure? I mean, Enid Blyton is like a very, I think, well-respected author of children's literature in the UK, but I couldn't give a shit. I'm like, I want to read about Ghostbusters and Transformers and HeMan. I don't want to read about 5 kids go on an adventure. It's like, oh, that sounds terribly exciting.
And,
how much is it on sale now?
Let me go back. 40p.
40 pence. Wow. That's I mean, it's incredibly cheap. I was thinking about the other day. You could, when I first started collecting Marvel comics and obviously I get inflation and how things change, but for £1, for £1 UK pound, you could buy like 5 comics, which is nuts to think about that back then. 5, but the equivalent today it doesn't even make sense. It's not inflation has worked with it. It's just ridiculous. It's like, oh my god, those days of going to the news agent, picking up 5 Marvel comics and being like, I've got 5 comics. It's great. Grandpa complains. Grandpa's going to shout at a cloud.
Quickly, while James tries to figure out this puzzle, if you guys have any questions for us for anything, pop it right in the chat now, and we'll get to anything that you want to ask. What is this fucking puzzle, by the way? I didn't even look at this page.
I rarely looked at these because I was stupid, but He-Man and Man-at-Arms are both fascinated by numbers and mathematics. Are they? Like they're the little weekly challenges.
They're into math now.
They often challenge each other to solve various number problems. And here is one man gave to He-Man while they were guarding Castle Grayskull. How fucking bored were they?
Skeletor didn't attack enough.
What was the thing?
So Man-at-Arms drew a pyramid of blocks, just like.
So you just got to work the numbers down backwards, and then you get the correct answer.
Yeah, He-Man was asked to work out what numbers should be placed in the box. It took him 10 minutes to solve this problem. Can you beat He-Man? Are we basically saying like He-Man's stupid?
I'm not gonna like. It took He-Man 10 minutes to solve the problem. He-Man, what are you doing? Mind you, He-Man does look like he's seen better days.
He looks frustrated.
Yeah.
What is this puzzle, man at arms?
Yeah,
Fuck you!
We're supposed to be guarding Castle Grayskull. Why have you given me a bunch of blocks to examine?
You're giving me a headache.
Just do it, He-Man. So yeah, that's issue 7, I guess. There's usually a thing at the bottom like a
There's the answer.
No, it's up. Scroll up right there. It's upside down. What the fuck is it saying? Wait, what?
Now stand on your head to read it.
10.
It says each number found by adding the digits in the 2 boxes. Let's see, what was that underneath? Underneath it. Therefore, the answer is 1 + 2 + 1 + 6 = 10. There will be another brains, not brawn, in the next issue.
Oh, joy!
Why would you put something like that in here though? Like,
because when you think about what they, comics, they're obviously trying to fill pages, but also I think they were maybe, and this might be a stretch for me to say, they were tapping into, He-Man's whole kind of maybe the Filmation as idea that, it's brains over brawn kind of thing, even though He-Man would like throw a mountain and lift a planet or whatever, or lift a mountain and throw a planet.
Well, he's throwing that pyramid.
He is throwing the pyramid, not very far. But yeah, I think that's, kind of maybe what they were doing there. Is again, going back to the UK comics scene, as it were, the earliest issues of the Transformers are brilliant because, like I said, they were adapting American comics and breaking them up over 3 issues usually of a UK comic. And with the UK comic, because they didn't know how big Transformers was going to be, the first issue or the earliest issues, there's 2 pages dedicated to robot news, and it's like, here's some robot news from not like from Transformers, like actually from the real world. Like in Japan, they are currently working on, or here's a toaster that can do this, or this new device called a microwave. That kind of thing. It's just like, well, they're really desperate for column inches, but it was because they were just trying to figure out what the comic was, and eventually, let's just tell Transformers stories and be done with it. But yeah, the Master Universe comic, it's amazingly for those first 49 issues, that structure remained. Editorial, Orco strip, letters page, and then the stories that broke it up, and competition, brains not brawn, and then it was just the same structure. And then when they started using the German IHAPA comics, that's when everything changed. That was interesting though.
Just want to highlight. So we'll leave Tyler out of this portion of it. Out of the 3 stories, if you had to pick one of which one was the best overall,
I still enjoyed the first one just because I think it's just because I do love the whole J. Jonah Jameson kind of influence in that story. Whether or not it was influence, I mean clearly it was with the face and the chest. But yeah, I kind of like it. I understand the criticism of it and stuff. But it's like, I like the use of brainwaves in a He-Man story, a robot with Hordak's face on, and Prince Adam jumping on the back of a robot and transforming into He-Man. I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. Plus, like I say, the stone against the sword, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I go 2, 1, 3. The second story I kind of enjoyed, and then the first one was good, and then the third one was just rough. That was rough. So I go 2, 1. 3.
I'd go 1, 2, letters page 3.
Ren, if you had to pick which story was best,
none,
or least offensive to you, which
like
one?
I have to pick.
You have to pick one. Tyler's got to pick one too, but Ren, what would you pick?
The second one, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go second one as well. I think potential wise, that one kind of had the most potential overall. Tyler, I know they all sucked, but if you had to pick one,
they all suck balls, but probably the first one just because the robot looked cool.
You're with James on the.
I could have seen the
Spider-Man
robot as part of the vintage toy line. I could have easily seen that without the Hordak face, but just as like a big, much like that unproduced robot that the Horde was supposed to get.
Oh yeah, evil robot.
Yeah, the mini comic for that one is owned by James.
I know.
That's me,
and it's glorious.
Dushin,
what about you, Dushin?
Yeah.
I chose Demon of Phantasy.
Oh God.
There's a smart man there, James.
You're on crack.
Let's see. Fedmon with the question. Can you give us your story for the prize page in this UK issue? What?
Sorry, what?
Well, did James say? Maybe he thought you said you were going to write a story or something or send something. Is that what you mean, Fedmon? Did you think James was wanting to write in a story for the letters page or prize page?
Oh no. The only thing I think I said in reference was I never wrote a letter. I never entered a competition. Never wrote a letter. Never joined the fan club. That was my only ever association with the UK comic. I don't think I ever wrote a story. Dear Masters, I did. I still got a couple of stories I wrote. Like I still got in one of my folders somewhere of.
I was gonna say if it was easily accessible, I would like to see this story.
One's like, is it Escape from the Fire? I always love it because I was writing in. I did little drawings as well, but some of them I've got writing on. And it's like where I do complete spelling errors, and it's like, oh boy, yeah.
If Fedmon clarified himself for you when you're done, he'll.
Make
up a story for the page with Jitsu and.
Oh my god! Too Bad's drunk and Roboto's got his arm device is doing the whole Evil Dead thing, and he's trying to kill him. He's like, no, and Jitsu's just in the back going, I'm an Asian stereotype.
Jitsu is going, my back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my back.
No, you're gonna get Tyler fired up again, talking shit about Jitsu.
Yeah, I ain't having that.
Jitsu's amazing. No.
I don't know why they look at him like, oh, that's an Asian stereotype. Why? Why is it an Asian stereotype? A big muscle dude with a gold chopping hand. Why? How is that stereotype?
It's his hair, man. He's got. Listen, fucked up both of the Asians' hair.
Maybe it is kind of the hair.
Maybe Jitsu is a millennial.
Maybe I'm sorry. I just always thought that's a cool look. Like
I dig the beard, man, but do something with that fucking hair.
Origin figure.
It's got the same face.
He's got a man bun.
He's got that classic, kind of like.
Jitsu was one of my favorite toys. I remember
he's
school
about to make Thundercats roar.
Yeah, I thought he was fucking awesome. I didn't look at it as like.
The funny thing is, when I first saw him, I'm not joking. This isn't a joke. When Matthew Chalice at school had him, I remember thinking that he had a new Mr. T figure because obviously the A-Team was huge at the time. I was like, Mr. because he had the hair, and I was just like, oh, it's Mr. T, and he was like, no, it's a He-Man figure. I was like, what is this? Because obviously Jitsu, if you go back to those Wave 3 or whatever they were figures, you rarely see Jitsu. Well, Jitsu doesn't appear on any of the cross-sell card backs. I was just like, who's this? I'd seen Battle Armor He-Man and, an Orko figure, Prince Adam, Buzz-Off, Fisto, or whatever. I was like, who's this guy? And he's like, it's Jitsu. I'm like, Jitsu's so cool. And then I got Jitsu a short while later. But yeah, I did think he was Mr. T at first. Funny enough, I've got like a Mr. T mug here.
It's like poetry, so that it rhymes there.
I pity the fool that don't drink tea. Ironically, I had coffee out of here. Or did I evacuate my bowels?
Oh my god.
Ew.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
nasty.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
It looks just like Joe's toilet.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh.
Please don't do that.
Lick it.
Don't finger your cup.
Oh, you're a gross. Oh, son of a bitch.
Stuff a wet willy. We won't read the story this go around, Gavin, but he says it's question time for all of you. What is a grail in your collection you thought you would never be able to get and keep being the best podcast ever? So what a grail that you never thought you would ever obtain, and now you do own it. I guess for me it had to be that first appearance of Wolverine, right, Tyler?
You motherfucker. Didn't even know what it was.
I'm kidding. That wasn't the grail. Yeah.
God.
What would be something?
I haven't tried to attain everything. The stuff that I have is from my childhood collection.
I mean, Tyler's probably got it.
Joe, you literally have a place at Eternia on your floor.
No, but that was I didn't have to
attain
that
as a
grail.
kid.
That was when when I was a kid. It was well, I guess the deal I got for Titus boxed for $150 off of eBay when the guy was selling it in a sports shop. He thought he labeled it as Giant He-Man, and that's how I found it because I was looking for the Mexican blow mold figures that are called Giant He-Man, and I was searching, and there he was. There was Titus in his box from the sports shop being sold on eBay, 150. Bought it just like that. He had no clue what he had.
Nuts.
So that would count.
Yeah.
Tyler, you got a couple, right?
Yeah, the two towers you got me from the Attorney and Men on Card He-Man. I like just my memories of getting it back in '87. I never thought I would ever own or see a Men on Card He-Man in my life other than on eBay, and I'm pretty damn happy to have had or still have that and the slime pit, because the slime, seeing that as a kid blew my fucking mind.
You didn't have it as a kid?
No, I saw it one time. And the box art, I was overwhelmed with the box art. I just thought the box art looked so cool, and to have a loose one and have 1 minute box, just that way I can look at that vibrant art with Beastman and the slime coming down. I'm like, I thought it was so fucking cool as a kid.
Technodrome, because my dad got me one boxed for Christmas one year, complete and boxed, because I mean, obviously, given the time too, you probably could have found one loose for a decent price, but it probably would have been missing everything. So it's
I paid $400 for mine.
Yeah,
and everything.
Oh,
it's a good thing that you have the original, because they just re-released the Technodrome, and it's so much smaller.
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
The figures literally fit inside.
Yeah, why would they do that?
And I don't know how anyone can give it a good rating. It's literally just. The eyeball doesn't even stay on.
It was so funny watching Arnie choke on his own rage there.
But yeah, it makes no sense. Like, they have the molds. Why scale that down and then charge the prices that they do for it? Rebel Wookiee. This isn't Ren. Ren.
Yeah,
Ren.
Damn.
Yeah, Grail for you.
So one, I've got two. So one is my Big Jim cat, the tiger.
Oh, Tiger.
And my OG Shockwave that I had to get back, which would be actually this is my fourth one I've had since I was a kid, so I had to get that one back.
What happened to the other three?
So the first one, this kid broke. I think I told you guys the story. The kid broke, and my mom made his mom buy me a new one.
Nice.
And then over the years, I lost it. And then I bought this one that I've got in my display, and I bought one that was in package. And I ended up selling that one because I don't keep anything in the boxes. So I just kept the OG. So
mine, I'd say my Grail is probably I have the power cell, just because I thought I'd never get my hands on that. And I was like, oh, I got it. So that was...
You sound so enthused. You're like,
well, no, it's just, I mean, it's not
I think all the cells James has owned, he's actually like, oh, I've got that. I'm like, oh, look.
Well, no, it was one of those things. It was like that was. I remember I think I've still got a video when I took it out of the thing, and I can't remember who I sent it to, and I was just like, because I bought it from a guy in the UK, and I thought I'm going to get back to my place and have instant buyer's regret. So I filmed me kind of taking the cell out. And I was like giddy. I was like, I can't believe how good this is. I was like, oh, clearly I did enjoy this purchase, and I still do. I mean, it's like if I was to sell every cell, I'd never sell that one, because it's like I have the power cell, or one of them.
I'll tell you what's better than that, James, is the aerial butt naked sketch, the Thunder Barbarian one. Oh yeah.
What's that?
Huh? The fuck?
Yeah, you're gonna have to elaborate.
There's that early model sheet.
Yeah, it's the model pages, the turnaround, and she's butt ass naked.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dushan's like, oh yeah.
I go to bed every night.
It seems early on they wanted to do a adult series rather than for kids. Like all these model sheets where Ariel is nude. And some others are titled The Teaser. So it's like a pilot presentation.
Are you sure? Like, did they mean the teaser? Like, ooh, like
no,
teaser
no.
Like that?
She's got nipples, man.
She's got a nipple
Dushin, do
there,
you
that's
have
what I
them? Can we send them to me? We'll share them right now.
They're out there. I don't have.
If you
them.
want the podcast to be taken down,
Yeah, you can share it.
but I'll send it to you right
Yeah,
now.
send it to me. I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to look at them, but just for study them.
Let's back up for a second too and realize that also this ties into to Ren's personality. That of course it would come down to titties.
I can't say I blame them, man.
Yeah, I don't either. But Rebel,
I love them.
With a comment here for Ren, just a big thank you to Ren for the action figure I won.
No problem, brother.
That I love it, and it's proudly in my collection. So there you go.
Oh,
I'm glad you liked it.
What figure was that? What did you sell?
I didn't sell anything. So actually, I think I've got mine are over here. So I got these figures. They were from this small company that the guy wrote books. He wrote novels, and he produced these figures. And he was he wanted to do a line, but he only ever produced these two. And there was a toy dealer at a store I was in West Virginia. He was giving them away. He had boxes of them. He was giving them away, and he gave me 3 sets of them. I kept these 2. I gave my son a set, and I gave 2 away on the show.
Oh,
so. I know both of them got theirs. So
I just sent those to Tyler. Those shots. So there you go, Tyler. Get your opinion on those.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, man.
She looks quite nice.
I have to send them to.
We had them enlarged. They look familiar.
JSP says, as I mentioned earlier, I'm sure you guys saw, Grim knows, that Play On Pictures has released HeMan Volume 1 on Blu-ray and is planning on a Volume 2 soon. So there was a thing, I guess, mentioning here, I'm sure you heard the great news about the He-Man and She-Ra Blu-ray sets coming out. So if you missed out the first time, now you get another go at it.
What, in Germany again? Or
yeah.
So we get fucked over again?
With shipping costs.
Yeah.
It should be very easier to order the individual volumes, though.
Better get it now before those tariffs hit.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Question for Joe, and anyone else can chime in on this too. And you got to leave it to the 3 choices that are presented here in the question. This comes from Oliver Belmont.
Pay attention, Joe.
Joe, which of the Friday the 13th film heroines you rooted for and put up a good fight against Jason? So which one of these is the best? Jenny Field of Part 2, Megan Garris of Part 6, or Tina Shepard of Part 7?
Well, Megan didn't do a goddamn thing against Jason, so she's immediately out of the picture. Tina, it's easy to want to say her because, well, of course she has her powers, how she was fighting them, and that was fun. But Jenny put up a hell of a fight, and remember, she wanted to understand Jason with psychology and understand, and she knew into what she did at the end when she was looking and understanding this is his mother with the shrine, and she gets into the outfit, tucks her hair, and she's trying to fight him mentally and physically when she goes at him. So I don't get me wrong. I love Tina. Part 7 is my favorite Friday the 13th, but Jenny, I give it to Jenny because Jenny, she doesn't have any supernatural powers. So I go with Jenny.
Tyler's a big fan of Part 2.
I love Part 2. Part 2 is a lot of fun.
Would you agree with that overall?
Of that selection, yeah. Jenny's by far the best. She's probably in the top 2, top 3 of the female leads in the Friday the 13th series by far. Plus, she pees her pants, underneath the bed.
The goddamn mouse.
And if peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
That's right.
This comes from Chris Carter.
What about Nathan? Well, Nathan, what about you? Well, what's your opinion? Who would you pick?
Overall, when it comes to Part 7, that's one that, I enjoy the concept of it, but Part 7 is not one I find myself wanting to go back to as much.
Okay.
I agree with you about Megan in Part 6, so yeah, I'd probably go with Jenny in Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just, maybe it's just better on the aspect that it was earlier on in the franchise, and arguably those movies in the first half way better than what you get in the second half.
That's more of a creative way of tackling Jason too, is like playing up, pretending to be his mother.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a throwaway, but it's most of the time it's just you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight. She's using her brain a little bit, and it's probably the most creative ploy of stalling Jason long enough to put a blade in him.
I didn't answer.
Oh, go ahead, Ren.
I don't know any of those bitches.
I
We
figured
knew
you
you
did.
didn't. That's why we fucking asked you. Okay, next question, Nathan.
Chris Carter, any chance of a Survivor Series matchup for Thanksgiving? Nathan comparing Web Store to Tito Santana and Jitsu to Red Rooster was classic, though I disagree with those comparisons.
When the fuck did that happen?
That was ages ago, dude.
3 years ago, maybe?
No, that was way longer than that.
Longer? Really?
Yeah, I'll find it really quickly.
That long ago?
I wouldn't put up for that. You comparing Jitsu to Red Rooster? What the fuck?
I'm surprised you don't remember that.
No,
because I did the
Red Rooster thing.
I did the Vince McMahon impression. That episode was November 18th, 2018.
Was that our Survivor Series episode that we did?
Yeah.
We had okay. I don't remember making that comparison though. I'm sure I was pissed though.
I don't remember the Tito Santana reference, but I remember the Red Rooster.
We'll have to go back and watch it at some point. Yeah, I think I did that deliberately because I knew that would piss Tyler off.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I'm sure I was pissed off at some point. So.
Aren't you always?
Yeah, it don't take much anymore. It really doesn't.
So another question from Gavin. I had to fix the message. I have a ridiculous question. It's a would you rather I made from the top of my head, and they are the following. Would you rather bump into George Lucas and use reality warping powers or be ran over by Adam Sandler?
Wait, what?
What?
And uses reality warp. I don't know what that means.
I would rather.
Would you rather? So there's obviously right. Would you rather bump into George Lucas and use reality warping powers, or be run over by Adam Sandler?
So I could warp reality and erase the shitty Star Wars prequels.
I think that's what that is. Afterwards. Yeah, or be run over by Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler's like, don't I get anything out of that? Aside from
that's only one choice.
Yeah.
Would you rather bump into George Lucas and he angerly uses reality warping powers to digitally alter you, or you get ran over by Adam Sandler and
hang on.
Would you used in a bad movie?
Wait, is this an update of the?
Yeah.
Would you rather bump into George Lucas and he angrily uses his reality warping powers to digitally alter you, or get run over by Adam Sandler and your accent is used in a bad movie he makes?
I would go with.
I love Adam Sandler movies, so I'm choosing that.
All right, Ren. What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?
Happy Gilmore.
He don't even know the titles of them. What are you doing?
You know I don't know titles of anything. Cut it out.
Happy Gilmore.
Who?
Happy Gilmore.
Golf one? Is he gonna say the golf one or the wedding one?
No. The cartoon, the Droid one. I like the
Oh my
little
god!
dude.
Get to another question. He's fucking irritating the shit out of me.
All right.
What happened?
Eight Crazy Nights. That's your favorite Sandler
Yes, 8
film?
Crazy Nights. God forbid.
How's your father? No love for fan favorite Friday the 13th Part 5?
The movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, that movie does suck. I appreciate what they were trying to do with it, but
I don't.
Yeah.
Other than Vic and the
All
chocolate
Friday
bar,
the
that's
13th
the
movies
only
suck.
funny part in that movie.
With the chimichangas or the burrito. What's the line, Joe?
Oh, damn enchiladas.
Enchiladas. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, damn enchiladas. Yeah, exactly. And then
That's
the shit
DJ
through.
from Street Fighter having the shits.
Yeah.
What are some movies you guys are planning to watch in the month of November? Because we just got out of October, so most people.
I saw a recent movie. I saw. I'd heard a bit about it, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a shot. I watched The Substance with Demi Moore.
Oh, I heard about that.
It's very unique. It's I won't, without going into any spoilers. It's like for the first, if you were to break the movie into thirds, the first two are like, oh, it's like this, and then the third you're like, what the fuck? And the third will easily be a case of it's either people are gonna really embrace it or just go, this is garbage. But the first 2/3 of the movie are great. It's like a real satirical piece. It's
at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
By the way, James, aren't you excited for the upcoming Marvel movies?
Oh,
Next
yeah.
question.
So I was saying to Dushan, I saw the trailer for. Oh, go on, Ren.
No,
I
go
am.
ahead.
What the
I
Marvel?
don't know,
film?
man. Like I saw the trailer for Captain
Thunderbolt.
America, and I was just like, no, it's just.
Oh.
And Thunderbolts. I said to Dushan, it just feels like kind of they've just appropriated the IP of Thunderbolts, because if anybody remembers that Thunderbolts initial run, I said to Dushan, it was just like amazing.
And they were full-on villains, former villains. Not
that reveal was. I still
of-
remember to this day. You read that first comic, it was the first issue, and you're just like, it's Baron Zemo and the Masters of Evil. It was just genius. And it's like, the problem is the MCU, the cinematic universe, hasn't built up any decent villains.
No, and their Zemo sucks, man. That is not Baron Zemo.
Oh yeah,
man.
I mean, like you want. No, we've talked about it before. Baron Zemo, Masters of Evil, 1980s, taking over the Avengers Mansion was like one of the nearly destroying Jarvis, Mr. Hyde beating the fuck out of him. That was one of the greatest stories ever. And it's just it's just astonishing that you look at the MCU and people are always like, yeah, Thor and Captain America and Iron Man, and it's just like, who are the villains? Like Stan Lee, Kirby, Ditko, whatever. Your villains were. Do you know how I'd make the argument? This is very bizarre. Just thought this. I think the Sony, at least the first 3 Sam Raimi films, built up a stronger villain base when you think about it.
No, they didn't.
I'm not saying like they're the greatest of villains. You what? Sorry.
So their villains suck too. They're all apologetic for what they do. Like they don't own being villains. Like Dr. Octopus apologized at the end. Norman Osborn, don't tell Harry. What the fuck, man? Sandman, I didn't mean to kill your uncle. What the fuck? What?
Don't you know how much Green Goblin has sacrificed?
What a difference.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
That's that line that he said, remember, in the movie. Don't you know how much I sacrificed?
So that's I checked out of all those Raimi films. I don't want to remember what's in those movies. Oh yeah, I know the line you're talking about. Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
The thing for Ren, real quick, it's interesting that when Ren was knocked out of this chat, we got somebody new here in the chat that made a comment, kind of complimenting Ren. Well, what's going? Is this you, Ren? Do you have an alternate account, or is there somebody that agreed with you?
Thank you, Bursty.
I think you are Bursty, aren't you?
It's a good fucking funny holiday film.
I'll give it since it is the holiday season, I will watch. I'll give it a shot. I've seen pieces of it on TV.
It's
for
funny,
that to be his favorite, though. Jesus Christ, it's okay, but
out of the other options that you have in his filmography, to go with that one is an odd choice.
Most of Adam Sandler's movies are the same plot. So if you just I like Adam Sandler's humor, I really do. I also like the fact that he employs his friends through all of his fucking movies, and he puts them in different parts.
How are they the same plot? Explain that to me. How is Wedding Singer, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison? Go ahead, tell me. I know you're going to break it down. Go ahead.
So you got this underdog guy. He's always fucking ugly in the beginning. Somehow he gets the dope-ass chick at the end. They're all the same fucking plot.
I mean, I would give him that.
Every single one. Listen,
I'm trying to give him that.
Stop talking, Joe. Every single fucking movie, he starts out, he's either fucking hideously ugly, he's got some type of deformity, some type of
he was that in Happy Gilmore. He was like that in Happy Gilmore.
He wasn't deformed in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, so there you struck out there, genius.
Wasn't he in fucking elementary school in Happy Gilmore?
No,
you see Billy Madison there. You fucking genius. Come on. Oh my God.
He doesn't.
Let's wrap this shit. I'm gonna kick the shit out of him.
Going back to this question, for whatever reason, I always, and James is gonna love this, for November, I always have a tendency to really watch the Rocky movies than any other time of year. I don't know why that is, but it's just something.
Oh, the first one takes place. Part of it takes place at Thanksgiving. The first one.
Maybe that's what kind of strings it along. When I think of those movies, I think of like fall, winter time.
Well, I mean, you get the Christmas tree scene. Is it the first or second? And then the snow. Hey, Mr. Tiger, you want to come to the wedding?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
And Polly throwing the turkey out of the window, being a total jerk.
But now I just want to watch the Rocky movies 1 to 6 all over again. Oh, we did this the other year, wasn't it? We did the Rocky tier list.
I want because I'll get insomnia again.
Yeah.
Hit us with one more good question, Nathan, before we wrap it up.
Well, that one's a lot of people giving the recommendation, like what they're planning to watch in November. I mean, it's not necessarily a good question. Chris Carter asking, which master shirt is more badass? Do you even lift, bro?
Oh, God.
Fuck, dude.
Someone call the vet because these puppies are sick, or got meow. Yes, this was sarcasm.
I don't even know any of those shirts. I'm kind of happy I don't. I'm sure one or two use. I saw.
They are Billy Jack bullshit.
And
if you wear one, you're not a He-Man fan. You're a fucking moron.
All right.
You're those fake 80s guys. You're just like, I remember that. I had that. Oh, yes, you got. And it's always like, as Doosan said, those, or was it James or Doosan? All those He-Man T-shirts have got the most worst fucking coloring. Everything's bleached. It's incorrect. It always looks so piss poor and cheap. I mean, it's like a bunch of flea market knockoff bullshit. It looks fucking horrible.
It's funny when like the early day. Well, the first time I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2005, obviously it was a smaller convention, but the MCU hadn't invaded the Comic-Con yet. So you had people wanting to be there because they were fans of comics or animation and stuff. It's quite a unique place to be before the MCU turned everyone into a comic book fan. Like what was great about that convention in those days was people were coming up to buy the He-Man DVDs, and everyone, like, there was no real He-Man T-shirts, so everyone had their own custom shirts. That was when you saw the best T-shirts, because you saw people using like Filmation artwork or Alcala artwork or whatever. And it was all good stuff. It wasn't like, like stupid slogans that get approved officially by Mattel. That's the amazing thing. But Dushan and I, God forbid, we make a cartoon that misuses the IP.
Was it? All right. Okay.
So who would win between Jitsu and karate?
Oh, you spoke karate.
Yeah, I was going to say Jitsu and a form of martial art.
Karate would win because Jitsu would go, my back.
Well, in karate, he's my favorite New Adventures villain, but I'm probably always gonna pick Jitsu just because, Jitsu is he's the master of martial arts. When you're the master of martial arts, then you know what you're gonna have, you're gonna be the alpha.
But also,
but not since that injury.
Giant like hand just destroyed karate.
All right, Joe, go ahead and take it.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
I hated this episode.
Motherfucker.
Sorry.
That club would make a fine toothpick.
Say it one more time.
That club would make a fine toothpick.
If I know the quote, then that should be a bit of a clue.
What?
I said, if I know the quote, because I'm terrible with movie quotes, but if I know the quote, in this case I do, then that should give you some clue.
Well, if you know it, why don't you just immediately give it?
Oh, am I supposed to say it?
Yeah, whoever knows it.
Am I supposed to say? Oh, MU008. The Time Corridor, written by Larry DiTilio.
What?
Is that the one, the creature in the past or some shit or something? Or
the creature in the past.
Yeah, that shit. Episode where He-Man suddenly has an obsession with toothpicks.
I want to get. What's the movie? I want to get Joe's synopsis for every He-Man episode from this point on. Oh, the creature in the past or some shit. The Time Corridor.
I'm still fucking lost.
It was a He-Man episode, Ren.
It was a He-Man
episode.
Oh.
I was hoping
to do with He-Man. You're always lost with every fucking He-Man.
I was hoping that you were gonna hit him with the Adam Sandler movie quote, since he apparently loves all.
I probably should have done
the what was it, like, suck my white ass, ball.
He can do it.
from Happy
If
Gilmore.
I was going to quote anything, it'd have been like from the first like 4 Adam Sandler movies, because at least those I do find some joy in those. The rest of them, they're just doggy doodle.
See you guys next week.
Take it to the zoo. I hear retards like the zoo.
Oh,
that's Rocky. That's Rocky.
Like, watch, someone's going to come after me and tell me you can't say that. But I'm quoting the movie.
Yeah, I'm quoting the movie. Take it to the zoo.
Joseph love the zoo.
Yeah, it's a movie quote. It's different. I would say I recommend the Sandler movie Hustle, where he is the NBA. I
haven't watched that movie because it's
check that one out. It's good.
Yeah, that's the one where he's got he's the Jewish guy. He's the
Jew.
He is Jewish, James. Come on. Oh my god. What the fuck?
He's playing a Jewish guy.
It's like James is.
When I said that, the realization of wait a second.
It's almost
yeah,
like
that's a great film.
Like a foreign thing. You that Jew.
God. What were you gonna say, James? That's the one where.
Film, yeah, that film you recommended. Yeah, I really enjoyed that film. Yeah, it's really no. Hang on. The thing about the film is though, it was like made me really anxious. I've seen it twice, and it's like such a tense film throughout because he's fucking up and constantly trying to sort something out. It's like really, and he's great in it. Really great drama.
Are we talking about the same thing here?
I'm sure we are.
Hustle's where he's like the NBA scout. Are you thinking of Uncut Gems?
I'm thinking of Uncut Gems,
okay.
where he plays the Jew-ish guy.
Hey, is Hustle the one where he finds himself that he lives in a virtual reality?
No. What?
Oh, I remember. Do you know what?
Oh. Yeah, the world is all run by machines.
Jew, Deucen.
There was there was one film he did. I remember we had this new guy start at work, right? This is like 2006. New guy starts at work, and YouTube is just kind of becoming a thing. So trailers are getting on there straight away. And this new guy starts, and he's like, "Oh my god, I've seen the trailer for the best film," and he shows us, and it's one of those moments where you're like, "Oh, you're the new guy, and this is what you're showing us, and you think it's cool." Yeah, you're going to be gone within a year because we think you're a dickhead. Click, the Adam Sandler film.
Oh,
but he was like, it was the second coming of fucking Mel Brooks. He couldn't. Yeah, there you go. Anxiety inducing.
That movie is a ripoff of Benny Hill sketch.
Really?
Yes, there's a Benny Hill sketch where he uses a TV remote to manipulate reality. Yeah.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
That's
but yeah, that film, the trailer was like, look, he farts in David Hasselhoff's mouth, and then David Hasselhoff says, "Oh, why I can taste shit or something." It's like, this is your wow.
I'm
this
curious,
is great.
Was this new employee? Was it Ren for a time?
How dare you look at Ren?
Oh man! All right, James, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks,
appreciate
James.
you. Wait, lean in.
That's what I was doing. I was pretending to be your arm. Oh wait, hang on.
Ew.
Yeah, there we go.
Gay.